Hello Reservoirs, welcome back to the channel. Now today's video is for educational purposes, but I'm going to link it with current events so that things can make a bit more sense, because in the past few weeks, many of us have watched events unfold in South Africa. We have seen protests. We have seen tensions surrounding immigration. We have seen foreign nationals, Africans being targeted in South Africa. We have also seen countries like Zimbabwe, countries like Nigeria, Ghana, Kenya, Lesotho issue warnings to their citizens in South Africa. And Ghana has even started facilitating the return of its citizens. And also, as I'm speaking, there's something floating around regarding a deadline that the foreign nationals in South Africa have been given. So as I follow these developments, as I'm still following these developments, I find myself thinking of something much bigger, something much deeper, because I don't believe that this started in South Africa, and I don't even believe that this started in 2026. In many ways, this started over 100 years ago with a map, a ruler, and borders that many millions of Africans are still living with today. Because whenever tensions arise between African countries, whether it's South Africa, Zimbabwe, Eritrea, Rwanda, Congo, whatever African country, what we tend to do as Africans is to focus on the immediate problem. We spend hours and hours discussing that problem, but very few of us stop to ask. Very few of us stop to ask about the reason behind the tensions. And in this situation, very few people stop to ask, why do these borders even exist in the first place? How many people have asked themselves, why is someone considered a foreigner on one side of a line and considered a local on the other side of that line? Because there was a time when these borders did not exist. There was a time when communities traded across regions. A time when families moved freely. A time when ethnic groups in Africa occupied territories that today stretch across several countries. And yet today, those same people now need passports. They now need visas, permits to visit family and relatives who live only a few hours away. Yes, some countries have announced that they are removing those restrictions, or some of them, but this is still very much our reality in Africa. And looking at what is happening right now in South Africa, this is what I find myself reflecting on. Now, just to jog your memory in case you've forgotten, in the 1800s, European powers met during a time that is known as the Scramble for Africa. They met in Berlin, sat down in what is known as the Berlin Conference. During that time, African leaders were largely excluded from decisions that will shape the future of the continent. European powers at the time sat down with a large map and divided Africa among themselves. They expanded claims over African territories and established the framework for colonial control. And the result of that meeting was that Africa was divided into territories that became the African states: Zimbabwe, Botswana, Zambia, Malawi, Mozambique, Nigeria, Kenya, Ghana, Rwanda, and so on. The 54 states that we now have in Africa. Now, the problem with these borders was that when the lines were drawn, they paid little attention to how Africans had divided themselves. Because you see, Africans had divided themselves or had settled according to their ethnic groups, according to culture, according to language, according to their historical kingdoms, according to existing trade routes. That's how Africans had divided themselves. But because of these borders, many African communities found themselves on the wrong side of a line that was drawn. They found themselves split. They found themselves split between countries. Others found themselves grouped together despite having different histories, different cultures, different identities, different languages, and so on. They just found themselves grouped together. And the consequences of this still linger to this day. We are still seeing this play out in real time. Now, some people may ask, If these borders were a colonial creation, if they didn't exist to begin with, why didn't Africa just remove them after independence? Why not redraw or just get rid of them altogether? I mean, it's a fair question. It's a fair question. And the answer to that is actually fascinating. I mean, I find history fascinating. As much as it can be painful, it is painful. I mean, especially our history as Africans. It is painful, but it is fascinating at the same time. So, coming back to that question, why didn't Africa do anything about these borders? Because what happened was that when African countries gained independence, yes, they knew that there were border tensions in Africa. So the African leaders at the time feared that reopening every border tension, every border conflict that existed at the time would actually result in endless tension in Africa. They fear that they were never going to see the end of these tensions. So the result of this is that organizations such as African Unity, when the African countries came together and formed the African Unity, they then largely accepted these colonial borders instead of redrawing them because they didn't want to go there. So this paved the way for African diplomacy. In other words, the borders may have been artificial, according to the decision makers at the time. They recognized that, yes, the borders were artificial. We didn't make these borders. But according to them, redrawing the borders was going to be even more dangerous. Now, fast forward to today. South Africa is currently experiencing significant tensions around immigration. Many South Africans feel frustrated because of unemployment, pressure on public services, and economic hardship. Now, according to a report that I'm currently looking at, South Africa's unemployment rate remains above 30%, and immigration has become a major political issue. Meanwhile, many migrants, many African foreign nationals especially, are now saying that South Africans are blaming other Africans for problems that they did not create. And this is where the conversation becomes deeper. Because what we are seeing in South Africa is not simply a disagreement about immigration. Because we have competing ideas now. We have competing ideas about belonging. Who belongs? Who has access to opportunity? What does citizenship mean? And what does African unity actually look like in practice, in real life? What does it actually look like? Because the Africans that are being targeted in South Africa are also making their arguments, saying that they came to South Africa's aid. They needed them at one point in time, and this is facts, historically. Now, when it comes to borders, the real borders may be on the map. They may be drawn on that map. And this is the part that interests me the most. I sometimes wonder whether the real borders in Africa today are not just the physical ones. If you ask me, looking at everything that is happening in Africa right now, the strongest border right now is psychological. It is psychological because now Africans are always singing about my country. I mean, I see it on this channel. When I make a video about another African country, I get comments saying, oh, why don't you stick to your own country? But I want to be very clear. I am African first. Because even when Africans move freely, we still think in terms of my country, my people, my tribe. And that is understandable, by the way. It is understandable. But it also creates tensions. It also creates tensions, especially when resources become limited. Because scarcity changes how people think. Because when people feel threatened, when people feel that, okay, these people, these foreigners are taking their jobs, or resources are becoming limited because some of them are now going to foreigners or to migrants, that survival instinct kicks in because people want to protect what they think belongs to them. Because when people feel secure, when there is no threat, then unity is easier. It feels natural. But when there's a threat, when people feel threatened, guess what? Identity becomes more important than that unity. And suddenly, neighbors become competition. They become your competitors. This is what happens. And I also think that Africans abroad should pay attention Because what is happening in South Africa is not unique. It is also happening in Europe. It is also happening in America. We are also having conversations around immigration, and across other parts of the world, it is also happening. Immigration has become a hot topic. This is the reality. People are asking similar questions. Who belongs? Who gets access to jobs? Who gets access to resources? How much migration is sustainable? How do we balance compassion with national interest? People are asking these kind of questions. So in a way, South Africa is not isolated from these global trends. South Africa is also experiencing the same thing. But according to my opinion, if you ask me, I feel that as an African, as Africa, as African countries, our conversations about immigration should be different, or they should feel different. And perhaps the question that we should be asking is this: can Africa find a way to balance national interest with continental solidarity, with African solidarity? That is the question. Because yes, every country has got a right to discuss immigration, to protect its borders, and every country has got a right to prioritize its citizens. Every country has got a right to do that. But if Africans begin to see fellow Africans as threats, as outsiders, then we'll find ourselves trapped in divisions that were not originally ours. And according to my opinion, this is why this conversation matters. This is why this conversation matters to us as Africans. Because what we are seeing play out in real time is not just a debate about immigration. This is a reminder. This is a reminder that these colonial borders are still shaping Africa's future. And perhaps the most important borders that we need to be talking about, that we need to be examining, are not the borders drawn on the map. They are the borders up here in our own minds. So anyway, this is the video. I don't know what you think. As always, feel free to chip in the comment section. Also, don't forget to like the video, share it as well, so that it can spread to more people. And nowadays, you can hype a video. I'll see you in the next episode. Take care.